بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم۔
شروع اللہ کے نام سے جو رحمان و رحیم ہے۔
اقرأ بسم ربک الذی خلق۔
پڑھو اے نبی اپنے رب کے نام کے ساتھ جس نے پیدا کیا۔
خلق الانسان من علق۔
جمے ہوئے خون کے ایک لوتھڑے سے انسان کی تخلیق کی۔
اقرأ وربک الاکرم۔
پڑھو اور تمہارا رب بڑا کریم ہے۔
الذی علم بالقلم۔
جس نے قلم کے ذریعے سے علم سکھایا۔
علم الانسان ما لم يعلم۔
انسان کو وہ علم دیا جسے وہ نہ جانتا تھا۔
Assalamu alaikum. Today we are starting with the name of Allah, the most beneficent and ever merciful. This is class 8 period is ICT, and I am again your ICT teacher. So our today's topic is chapter number 2, Access 2013, Design View, Queries, Forms and Reports. The students, we have started this chapter in the last video class, and in the last video class we have discussed a few of the topics from this particular chapter. For the last week, week number 4, and today we are discussing the chapter week number 5 and the week number 6 and the content for the week number 5 and week number 6. So in week number 5 and week number 6 we have to complete our chapter number 2, and we also have to start our chapter number 3, that is list and images in HTML5. So right now today we are discussing our chapter number 2. But before starting the chapter number 2 or our today's topics that we have to cover for chapter number 2, we will review our last class. In the last video class we have completely discussed how do we create any particular table in design view or for the design view, and right after that we discussed the four different parts. For the part A, the grid view, the field definition grid, and right after that we discussed the primary key, how do we create or how do we set up the primary key, and after that we have discussed how do we remove or how can we simply remove the primary key, and after that we discussed the auto number field and some other few topics like validation rule and etc. Now today we are starting our class with this particular sheet, and in this particular sheet, so as you can see, this is a sheet for table design screen, and here we are having the table design screen. Whenever we have to create any particular table, so firstly what we do, we have to click the create tab, and right after that with the help of the two different options that are present in the create tab, that is table and table design, if we click the table button, we have a chart or we have a table on our screen in the form of the data sheet view, and if we click the button, the table design, then we have the screen in this particular form. So this is your table design screen that appears right after clicking the table design button. So this particular screen is divided into two different parts, the top half and the bottom half. The top half part from this one section to this one section, this is known as your field definition grid, and we have discussed this part in the last video class. It has 4 different parts. Number 1, this is your field selector area, the gray area, as I have told you in the last class, and this is your part number 2, your field name, the data type, the third one part, and this is the optional, and the fourth part, your description part. So this is your field definition grid, and right after that we are having the lower bottom part, that is your field properties pane. So in this section we are having the different properties regarding your Access 2013 design view. So in this section we are having these two different options. Number 1 is general, second one is lookup. So firstly we are discussing the lookup field. What is lookup or what is a lookup field? Whenever we have to add the particular things again and again for different types of records, so we use the lookup field, or we set up any particular field as our lookup field. For example, if I am having the data for some particular students regarding their examination, and this is the field where I have to mention the grades. So here I will mention my grades. So for mentioning the grades, what are the grades basically? The grades are A plus or A1 or A, then B, then C, then D, and in the last F. All these grades, the starting 3 grades are representing our past students, these grades representing our promoted students, and this grade F representing our failure students who couldn't clear their examination So these are the different grades that we have to mention for every record that we are adding over here. So if I am having the data for the 20 particular students, so for the 20 times I have to mention the grade from any of these grades. So how can I use my lookup field? Now I am trying, or I am working for my this particular field that I have to convert in the lookup field. So whenever I have to convert this field on the lookup field, so what should we do? We have the three different ways. If we are working in the data sheet view, so there are the two different ways, and if we are working with the design view, so there is only one way through which we can create or we can set up the lookup field. And you have to open your book for page number 28. On page number 28 we are having all the details regarding the lookup field. So the first one method for the data sheet view is this. We have to simply click the field header, and then you will click the lookup and the relationship option from the option menu that appears. As I am trying this field to make my lookup field, so the first one method in the data sheet view, I will click just the header of this field, then I will have a menu over here, and I have to select the option that is lookup and relationship. Or the second method through which we can create or we can set up our lookup field in the data sheet view, that is we have to click the add and delete button. From the add and delete group we have to click the more fields button, and after clicking this button again a menu appears, and from the basic type settings or the basic type section we have to again click the or again select the lookup and the relationship button or the option. Now for the design view, the present view that we are discussing on the board. So in this particular view or for this particular view, we have to click the menu in the data type cell. We have clicked in the data type cell, and again a menu appears, and then we have to select the lookup wizard, and as we click the lookup wizard, a wizard opens. So whenever we are applying the three of the methods or any of the method that we are applying to set up this lookup field, so a wizard opens. What is a wizard? A wizard has for a lookup field, a wizard has the three different screens. Means we have a small window on the screen right after that, and we have to clarify or we have to select some different options from these different screens, and after clicking, after selecting the particular options, we have the field that we want to set up as a lookup field, it will be set up to our lookup field, and we have been having a arrow over here. And also over here the different boxes, whenever we add a new record, we will have this box again and again for every record, and as we click on this particular button, a list appears over here, and we have to select any of the grade or any of the option that we want to enter as data in this particular cell. So we will select that one grade type or whatever data we are having in this particular list, and the data will be represented over here. So this is all about your lookup field, that how do we set up the lookup field and what is lookup field. So lookup field makes it more easier to add data or to enter data in any particular design view or data sheet view table. Right after that we are having, and as you can see for this particular diagram or the sheet that I have drawn, so this is the section that is highlighted, and this highlighted section is representing your design view, and this is your data sheet view. This is not highlighted, so it simply means that we are working for the design view. Now if I want to click or I want to select the data sheet view, so I will click this particular option, and I will be I will be switching to the next view. So this is all about our today's first topic, that is lookup, and now we are turning this particular sheet. So these are the particular properties. On this particular screen we are having two different options, that is general and lookup. We have discussed the lookup field, now we are discussing this general section. In this general section or for this particular general section we have the different properties that are written over here. These are basically the 9 properties. The first one is the field size, then the format, then input mask, then caption, default value, validation rule, validation text, required, allow zero length. So talking about the first property of this sheet that I pasted to the board. So the first property is field size, and this topic is present on book page number Yes, this is book page number 29. From 29 we are having this property, all of these properties, and these properties are from the field properties pane. So this is the first one property, that is field size. What about the field size, or what is field size? Field size determines us that how much data or how much maximum limit of the data that we can enter in any particular field. So for text we can edit or we can enter maximum 255 characters, especially when we are working for the short text data type. And for numbers it specifies or it determines the particular range of the numbers and the storage that in the form of bytes that we can use for the storage of the number. So this is the function of the field size. Now we are having the second property, that is format. What about the format? There are the three different formats in the format property. The first one is number and currency formats. Whenever we are working with the numbers, so we have to select any of this format from the 7 given predefined formats. There are basically 7 predefined formats that are given for us, and we have to select any of this from this, and we can also customize any different format for our convenience. So first one is your general number, then currency, then euro, then fixed, standard, percent, and then scientific. So these are basically 7 different predefined formats that we can use any of them for your number and currency formats. And for the second one, if we are adding the number in the form of date or the times, or we are working the data, or we are entering the data for the date and time in any particular field, so there are the three different or the some different predefined formats also for the date and time formats. So first one is your general for date, second one is short date, third one is your long date, fourth one is your medium date, then we are having short time, long time, and right after that your medium time. So these all the formats are for your date and time formats. And in the last we are having the logical formats. In logical formats we are having by default the yes or the no option, and we can also customize this by selecting true or false or by selecting on or off, as it depends on our data, what type that we need or what type of data we are working for. So we will select logical format as according to the data that we are entering. Now the third one is your input mask. What is input mask? Input mask is a pattern through which we can edit any of the data. So it facilitates the data entry. It makes our data entry more easier. So this is here is an example for your input mask. So there is a pattern or there is a sketch of the number. How can you add the phone number over here? And right after that we are having caption. What is caption? A caption is an alternative and explanatory name for any particular field. Whenever we are having a field and we may write down its name with the help of the field name property in the design view, but if the field name is explanatory, so there is an also alternate, because in the field name we can edit or we can write the limited characters, and here for the caption we can store or we can write up to 2048 characters. So if the field name is explanatory or long or detailed, so we will use this particular property, that is caption. Right after we are having default value. So for default value, if, for example, if we are having this data for some persons, and in this data there is a field that is nationality. Nationality means which country we belong from. So we belong from Pakistan, so we all are Pakistanis. So this field for every record that I am entering for a Pakistani will remain same. Okay, so we can set this one property, that is default value, in this nationality field, so that the value is repeated again and again itself, and the field is automatically filled whenever we add a new record. So default value, by setting this property we have an opportunity or we have an easier way to and that is the field is automatically filled. The field, whenever you press enter to add any of the new record, the field is pre-filled itself with the same word that you have set up for this particular property. Right after we are having validation rule. What is validation rule? In the last class we have completely discussed what is the validation rule. So validation rule specifies a particular rule or the range for the data entry. For example, if I have to enter the data from 1 till 100, so I will mention a validation rule for this particular range, and if the data that I have if the rule that I have set up for this particular range from 1 to 100, and if I am adding any of the value that is less than 1 or greater than 100, So a text message or an error message appears on the screen, that is known as validation text, and it tells us that we have violated our rule and or the value that we have entered in the field, this is against our rule. So for example, if I am having the rule for less than 10, if I have to add the number from 1 to 100, so what is the validation rule for this particular range? This is your less than and equal to 1, greater than and equal to 1, and then less than and equal to 100. The number that we are going to enter or the data we are going to enter in any particular field, where I have mentioned my range from 1 till 100, so the number should be greater and equal to 1, and it should be lesser or equal to the 100. So this is the way through which we write our validation rule. And validation text, next property, as I have told you, this is an error message that appears whenever we violate the validation rule, or violence of the rule means whenever we add any value that is not acceptable by the range that we have given with this particular rule. So we have an error message, and that is validation text. And that is next is required. What is required field? Required field is used whenever we can whenever I want to add any of the data as per my wish. For example, if I am having this one data, and this is having the names, and this is having the email addresses. Everyone don't have an email addresses specifically. So if I am having I am entering 3 different names over here, and the 2 persons only have the email addresses. So I will fill for the first one, the second one, and the third one field I can left it blank, because I am using this required field for this email field. If the data is present and if I want to enter the data in the field, then I will set up this field for the yes. There are the 2 different options in the required field. First one is yes and the second one is no. If I want to enter the data in the field, so I will select my yes option, and if I don't want to add any type of the data in my field, then I will set up this particular option or property as no. And if I set up this as no, so it simply means that now I can simply left this particular field blank. Next one is allow zero length. Allow zero length means when your characters, when your field is not having any of the character for text and memo data types. This is used for text and memo data types. And next is your required is yes, then allow zero length is no. So data is entered, and if both are set as no, then a field can be left as the blank. Required and allow zero length depends on each other. If you are using the both properties simultaneously, so you are having, if you have set up this particular field required as yes, and you have set up allow zero length as no, this property for yes option, this property for no option, it means that you can easily enter the data on the field you are working for. And if you have set up this particular field that is required as no, and also this one field for no, so it simply means that now you cannot enter the data and the field can be left as blank field. So this is all about your properties that the properties field pane has. So our next topic is queries. As our chapter name implies, design view. We have completely discussed the design view and its screen, its 2 different parts. The field definition grid, the top part and the bottom half part, that is our field properties pane. And right after that we are having the queries. What are the query? Query is an easier way, or is the easiest way to answer the question that we are having regarding any of the database or the table included in the database. So whenever we are having the different tables or the different database and we have to search some particular data regarding any particular person or any particular field, so we use queries. Queries makes it easier to answer any of the question regarding the database that we have created. Now how do we use the queries, or how can we create the queries? So for creating queries, we have to click this one particular tab, that is your create tab, and as we click on the create tab, the different groups are represented on the screen, that is your templates, then tables that we have used for creating the table in design view, and then queries, then forms, reports, then macros and codes. So with the help of this particular group, that is queries, you have to select this one option or this one option. So if we select the query wizard, so there are the two different methods by which we can make or we can create our query, that is query wizard, and next one is your query design. So if you click this one button, that is query wizard, a simple query dialog box appears, and in this dialog box you are having the 4 different options. And if you want to make a simple query type, so you will select the first one option. Right after that, as you click next or OK key, then you are having a wizard on the screen. Again a wizard is appeared on the screen, and it is having the 3 different screens. For the very first screen that firstly appear on the screen, right after clicking the OK button from simple query dialog box, the first screen is divided into the 2 different parts. And the 2 different parts, the first one part, the 2 different columns, and this column represents your available fields, and here we represent the selected fields. And these 2 different columns represent the different fields. Here are the available fields that are available or that we have created earlier, and here we have to select the different fields for which we have to make the query, or we have the questions to ask about any particular field. We will select this with the help of this one button. There is a button. If we click this button, so the field is selected, and if we click this particular button, then field is deselected. And right after that, for the second screen, and on screen 2, as you click the next button, the second screen appears, and on the second screen there are the 2 different options for the query. The first one is your detail view, and the second one is your summary view. So if you want the query in the detail means for every field and every record, so you will select the detail option, and if you want a summary about your query or about the data you have selected, so you will click the summary button. As you click as you select this particular option from any of these 2, and you click the next button, then you have the third screen on the screen, and the third screen of the wizard again represent the 2 different options. And the first one option is your title. What title do you want to assign to your particular query? And for the option B, you are having the view query right now or design query first, then finish. So you are having the 2 different options for the option B, and the option B is your right now you want to query, or option B is your firstly you want to design, you want to format your query. So if you want to format your query first, so you will select the second option, and if you want to directly view the query or the answer of the question that you are asking to your data or your access, then you will select your first option, then click the finish button, and your wizard will be closed, and you will be having a query on the screen if you have selected this first one option, that is view query right now or view the information. So this is the first method for the creation of the query. If we click this second one button, that is query design, so right after clicking this particular button, it shows a table dialog box. Show table dialog box appears, and this is a detail method as compared to this one method. Here a wizard appears, here not a wizard appears, but we have to work with the particular design, or we have a particular query design screen on which we have the different grids, and we have to select the data, we have to add the data field and the criteria and whatever we are having. So first of all, as we click this button, show table dialog box appears, and with the help of this show table dialog box, a mini screen on your computer screen, you have to select the tables that you want to add in your query. Right after adding your tables, as you click the add button, a query design screen appears, and this screen have this type of grid, a table with different this is your query design screen. Different columns are there, and this is representing your fields, the criteria, and some other also different options. So field, table type or criteria, all the different options are mentioned over here. Adding data to represent the query, whatever the data or whatever the data type you want to add, you have to select for this particular query. You will add that data, you will set, you will mention, you will complete your grid as per your choice. Right after that, you have to now run your query. Once the grid is completed, now we are willing, or I am wanting to just to run my query. So how will I run my query or view my query? We have to just click the run command for running the query, and as we use the run command, the output of the query is displayed on the screen. So this is your wizard way, and this is your design way. How do you use the query design and how do you run the particular query? After that, we are having the third option or the third last topic regarding the query, that is saving a query. How do we save a query? For saving a query, we have to just click the file tab, and right after that we have to select the save option from the menu. A menu appears as we click on the file tab, a menu appears and it has a save option. So we have to just simply click the save option for a query. And if I am having the second method, OR method, so in this OR method, there is a save button from quick access toolbar. Where is the quick access toolbar? This is your quick access toolbar. This is your access option. This is save option, a floppy disk representing the save option, and these are the two different options also here before the heading of this database 2. So there is the option you will select, you will just press this save button and the query will be saved. And if you are saving your query for the very first time, so as we click on the save button, it shows a new dialog box with the save as head, and firstly we have to mention the query name, then we will click the OK key and the computer will decide the location where the query is going to be saved. And this is all about your query section. And just like your query, we are also having the next topic, that is forms. What are the forms? After queries in chapter we are having the forms, so we are also discussing the forms after queries. What are the forms? Forms are the way or a method through which we can easily edit or enter or delete or format our data. So this is how do we create a form. So whenever we have to create a form, again we will go to the create tab, and with the help of this create tab there are the different groups for the options or for the creating the different things. So for the forms group we are having these particular 6 different options. And first of all, the first one method, by simply clicking on this form option, this is your first one option, form. So by clicking this simple form option, you will have a simple form, and it creates a form with all the fields that we are having. So it creates a form with all these particular fields. Now we have to customize our form. How do we customize our form? By mentioning its header or title, by mentioning date and time, the themes, the font color, the colors of the form, and many other options that we are having regarding this particular form. Then for the file tab, we have to save option from menu. Again with the help, as we have discussed over here, we have to click the file tab for saving any particular query. Right after that, as similar, we have to again click the file tab button. As we click the file tab, a menu again appears with the save option, and right after clicking the save button, your form will be saved. And first of all, before saving it, you have to type in the save as name and then click on. And if you are again saving the form for the first time, you will click you will have the save as dialog box on the screen, and you will firstly type the name of your form, and right after that you will click the OK button and your form will be created. The second way is using split form. So for using split form, firstly we have to click the more forms button. So this is more forms button. After clicking this button, a form is created on the screen, and the screen that we have on the computer for the form, it is divided into 2 different parts. Yes, here is your form. The top half represents your form with the different student name, student's ID, student's class. So this is the top half of the screen, and it represents your form, and the bottom half, this one section of your screen, represents your data in the data sheet view. So the screen is divided into two different sections. The upper half is the form and your lower half is screen, shows your data sheet view. And as we work on the any one of them, for example, if I am adding some data with the form, or so it will be automatically corrected or added in this data sheet view. Or if I am working for this data sheet view, I am adding something, I am making any type of editing, so that data will be or will also be affected over here in this form section, the upper half of our screen. And these two different sections are separated by a bar, and we can easily resize these two different sections with the help of this bar. Here is a bar in between these two different parts, and just click the form view to enter the data in layout view to format the form. So there are the two different views. First one is the layout view and second one is your form view. So here are the two different views. This is layout view. If you click this one particular button, so you cannot enter the data right now, you can only format your table form. And if you click this one particular form, that is form view. So with this form view, you can easily edit or enter any type of data that you want to add with the help of your data sheet view or with your form. So this is the second method, that is by using split form with the button, with the help of this button, more forms. Then we are having the third way, that is using form wizard. How do we use form wizard? This is the option for the form wizard. And for form wizard, as we click the form wizard button, a form wizard screen appears, and it is also having the three different screens. The first one screen represents or shows the selection of the fields within the two columns. You can select the field you want to add for your form. And for the second screen, the layout selection, and four different layouts are over here. For the second screen, you have to select the layout, the design that you want for your form, and the four different default forms or the layouts are columnar, then tabular, then data sheet, then last one is the justified. Select any of the one that you want. Right after that, as we click the next button, the third one screen appears on the screen, and it is again having the two options, just like similar to our query wizard. And as we are having on the query wizard, first is the title option, then the two different options for viewing the query right now or for making its edit. And just similarly, we are also having the option over here by which we can add a title, or we can select any of the options from these two different options. So that was all about how do we create the queries or how do we create the forms. There are the two different methods for creating your query, and for creating the form there are the three different ways. Now moving to our next topic, that is reports. Okay, so whenever we are having the report, so first we will review what is a report. A report is a general printed form of any particular data or the table that we are having in any particular database. So report provides us an easily understandable and easily presentable, a good method or a good manner way to represent our data on the paper. Means this you may say that this is a hard copy, or with the help of report you have the hard copy for your data that you have entered in your database. So how do we create the report as related to our query and forms? There are the two different ways for creating the query, three different ways for creating the form. Now what about the reports? Reports also have the two different options through which we can create the report. So first one is your using reporting command. Firstly, we have to select the table for which we want on the paper, or the table that we want on the paper, or the data type that we want to be on in a printed form. So firstly we will select that particular data. Right after that we have to click this particular report button by clicking your create tab, and from reports group you will click your first button, that is report button. As we click on the report button, there are the two different views we can work with. First one is the layout view. With the help of this layout view you can format the report, we can make the changes in our particular report, and if we click the print preview button, so it will represent our data or our report in the form on which, or the format by which it will be shown on the paper. Paper per how do it will represent itself on the paper. So print preview button represents us that one particular form. So the second one method is you are using report wizard, and using report wizard, for using this option you may have this particular diagram of the button over here. So you will click this one button, this is report wizard button, and after that you are having the wizard on the screen. There are the 5 different screens for the report wizard. For the very first screen you will choose the table and then you will add the fields. For the screen 2 you will select the grouping level, for on which category or for which particular category you want to make report. In the second screen we will select the grouping level. Right after, for the third screen, as you click the next button, the third one or the next screen appears, and here we have to sort the order, and we have also the summary options for this particular screen. Here we can sort, we can select any of the order for representing the data, and there are the 2 different orders. As you know, first one is ascending and the second one is descending. So basically by default the data or the order is set up as ascending, and you may also set up as and you may also select this as descending. And after that, within the same screen we are having the summary options, and with the help of the different summary options you can make your report more effective. And after clicking the next button we switch to the next screen, that is screen number 4 from our wizard, and from this particular screen we have to select layout. The layout are of the 3 different types: stepped, block or outline. So you will select any of the layout for this particular report from this particular given layout forms, and then you will select the orientation, what type of orientation you want to make, the portrait or the landscape. And after clicking or after selecting the options, the 5th screen is appeared on the screen, and in this 5th screen first you will type the title for the screen, then you will click the preview report, preview the report button, and as you click the preview report button then you will click the finish. So first you will be having the report on your computer screen. After that, how can we print a report on a paper? So this is printing a report on a paper. We have to just simply click the print preview button, and we have to select the different options that we are having, and we have to just click the print button and then OK. So as we click the print preview button, a small dialog box appears in which all the printer settings are present, and we have to select the different options, the options that we want to select, and as we click the print button then OK. So the printer is ready, and reports comes out as a printed form on your paper. So this is all about your reports. These are the 2 different and the simple methods through which we can create a report. And this is the end of your chapter number 2. Here all the topics of chapter number 2 are covered. Now we are discussing the exercises of chapter number 2. So the exercises as far concerned, we have completed the objective type question and descriptive type question in the last week, the week number 4. Now we are discussing simply application based question, and this is from your page number 116, week number 5, day Monday. Your content solution page number is 116. So here we are having the 2 different application base, A and B. For the A, we have to consider the table given on right and answer the following. And as you know that for a proper understanding, you must open your book for the page number 47. So there is a part, we have to consider the table given on the right side of our page, and we have to answer the different questions. The question number 1 is how many records and fields are there in the table. In this particular table that is present at the right hand side of our book, we have to tell how many records and fields are there. We are discussing this one table. So there are the 3 different rows. What are the records? Records are the rows. What are the fields? Fields are the columns. So there are 3 different records because there are the 3 different rows, and there are 5 different columns. So there are the 5 different fields, namely admission number, name, class, date of admission, then nationality. For the number 2, which field can be a suitable primary key? Yes, which one field can be a suitable primary key? So the admission number, the first one field can be a suitable primary key because every student has a unique admission number, and for primary key we have to select the field that is having a unique type of data. For the third one, what will be a suitable data type for each field? For admission number, This is short text data type. For name, this is again short text data type. Class, again short text. Date of admission, this is date and time data type. For nationality, this is again short text data type. And for the fourth one field, which property would you set so that the field nationality automatically has the value Pakistani? So if I want to make my field repeated again and again, the last one field as nationality for the Pakistani, so what property should I save? So should I set or should I use? So the property that we will use is your default value. As we have discussed in the default value, so we set up this property to set one word that is repeated again and again for every record. So we will use here the default value property. Now part B, application based question. Mr. Shanza Jamil looks after the transport department of Alsan Public School. He has decided to maintain a database of all students going by the school bus. And firstly, we have to suggest any 6 fields which you think must be present in this table. So for the transportation department of a particular school, a particular person has to make a database for all the students that are going through the school bus. Now for the first one, we have to suggest the fields that must be present in the table that Mr. Shanza is drawing. So the fields that can be present in the table are bus pass ID, first one field, second one field is the roll number, third one field is the class, fourth one field is the name of the student, and the fifth one field is your telephone number. The last field is the bus fee. For the second, suggest suitable data types for the fields identified by you. Which one data type must be in which one field that we have mentioned in part A. So for bus pass ID, the data type is short text, and for roll number again short text, for class again short text, name again short text, telephone number again short text, and for the bus fee we have to use the data type as number. Now for the third, which field can be set as the primary key? The bus pass ID can be set up as the primary key field for this particular table that Mr. Shanza has to draw. And right after that, chapter number 2 is completed according to the explanation and also regarding all of your exercises. Now what you have to do, you have to complete all the relevant work for your chapter number 2 that you have in the content solution week number 4, and all the work that is remaining or that is present on your week number 5 content solution on the page number 116. And after the completion of chapter number 2, we have to start the chapter number 3, and the chapter number 3 is lists and images in HTML5, and this is a short and unique chapter for the HTML, a brief chapter of HTML, and this is not the start of the HTML. You have discussed the HTML in the last previous class as given in the book in class 7. In the previous book you have discussed the basic properties of HTML, and today again we are starting the HTML. So what is HTML? Basically HTML is an language, and HTML is basically a abbreviation. This is particularly an abbreviation where H stands for hyper, T stands for text, M stands for markup, and L stands for language. So what is HTML? HTML stands for hypertext markup language. This is a particular type of language that we use to create or to develop the web pages. As we are having the different types of languages in computer system, so this type of language, that is hypertext markup language, is used to create or develop the different web pages that we see on the internet, or through internet we can have lots of different websites, and each website has different web pages. So these web pages are created by using the different languages, and one of them is your HTML language, that is hypertext markup language. This is the very first basic language that we can easily use to create any type of web page. So in this particular language, how do we use this language? For using or this language, we have the tags that are known as markup tags. We have to assign any type of data that we are entering, any type of item that we are mentioning on our web page, we have to mention them with the help of or in the form of markup text. And what are the markup text? Markup text are the codes that we use to represent different elements on the web page. So whenever we are working with the hypertext markup language, or we are developing or creating the web pages using HTML or hypertext markup language, so we will discuss this particular word, that is tag. And tag means the markup text, means the codes that we are using to represent any particular element, any type of data, any type of statement that we are entering or creating or editing into our web page. So right after that, we have some properties regarding HTML or hypertext markup language, and this is also from your class 7 as mentioned in the book. On page number 51, we are having a grand table from page number 51 till the mid of the page number 54, and this grand table is having all the different properties regarding HTML that you have discussed or that you have studied in the previous class. So on the board we will have a brief description or the brief introduction of these properties. And these properties are there you go, this is HTML properties, and we can assign these properties for text, the font, the margin, border and the background. Text, what type of text, what type of words you are editing to your web page, that is known as your text. What is font? For writing text, which type of font, which style, which color, and which one different way you want to use for your words. This is that all the properties comes under one head, that is font. The next head is your margin. How will your paper or how will your web page look on the internet from your right, left, top and bottom side? So this comes in the margin section. As you work on a paper of any particular copy, so we mention the different margins on the left or the right side of your paper, so that our work looks more effective and more presentable. So likewise, whenever we are creating the web page, we use this particular option, that is margin. Right after that, we are having the border. What does the border do? Border makes our web page more effective, more attractive for the viewers. Next is our background. Background is also, it may be any of the color, any image that we have as the background of our web page, and by using the background property or this particular option, we also have the motive that we have to make our page looking again the more beautiful and attractive for the viewers. A website or a web page that we are creating must be very effective, especially for the viewers, all the persons who will view this web page. So it must be effective for our viewers. Now for the text, what properties are there, or what the properties are available with the HTML? So the first one property is color. We can give any of the color to our text. The text alignment, from where your text will start, then your line height, what will be the height of your line with the text. Then text decoration, how can we decorate our text, we will decide in this particular property. Then text shadow, if I am writing the text in this way, for example, if I am writing my name on the board, so how will it cast its shadow, we decide is with this property. And right after the text, again the text transformation. So these are the particular properties that we can apply for the text. Now next is font. For font, we can select the font family, where we have the size, the style, the color or the language type of the font. We can all decide from this font family. Right after that, we are having the margin. As I have told you, the margin, as you can see, or if you are looking at this particular sheet, so it is also having the margin. This is your right side margin, this is your top side margin, this is the bottom side margin, and this is your left side margin. Talking about this particular table, not about these head. So this is your left side margin. All the margins are proper, by which or because of these margins, this sheet is looking good and beautiful and easily understandable. And so for our web page, we also use this margin property as margin bottom, left, right and top. For border, we have the different properties like border. For the first, we have to add the border, then the border width, border style and the border color. Then for the background, we can set, as I have told you, we can also set a color to the background. We can also set a image, any of the image that we are having in our on a computer system, or through online we can also set an online image over here with the background property. The next, that is your position. What is the position of your background image, especially if you are working with the image. Then background attachments, and then the background repetition. What is the repetition of the background, and how can you repeat the same background again and again? We can set this by using this particular property. So these all are the properties regarding your HTML, and this is a revision for your class 7. You have studied all these properties in the previous class. Now we are starting our next topic for the HTML. So as the chapter name implies, the chapter name is Lists and Images in HTML. So we are only studying the tags for the list and for the images. So for the first one, so these are the tags that I am mentioning on the board. DT and then DD. So whenever we are talking about the lists that we are having in HTML, so basically there are the three different types of lists, or the three different categories of lists that we can enter or that we can use in our HTML. So first of them is ordered list. What is an ordered list? Whenever we are having a particular items and we have to make or we have to show them on the web page as a list form, as in the list form. So and the order is also important, or the order of the objects also matters. So we use this particular type of list, and for using or for editing this particular type of list, the tag that we use is this particular from OL tag, our order list start, and the same tag, that is OL tag with a slash, that order list is ended. Whenever we are working with the tags, so you have to remember the two particular things regarding your tag. Our tag is always enclosed in these particular types of brackets. So this type of brackets known as angle brackets. This is a type of bracket that is known as angle brackets because they are of the type, as we mentioned the angle in mathematics. So these type of brackets are known as the angle brackets. And whatever we are working for, we have to mention the letters enclosed with these brackets. For example, I am working for my ordered list, so I will mention OL. So this tag is used for starting or for opening an ordered list, and if I want to end my ordered list, so the tag will be changed just by adding a slash. So this is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag for the ordered list. And similarly, if we are having the unordered list, a type of particular list of elements where the order doesn't matter, we can write any of the item first or the last. So this particular tag is used, that is UL tag, and this is also closed with the same tag by adding a slash. Third one list type that we are having is your description list type, and description list type has the three different types of tags, that is DL tag, DT tag and the DD tag, depending upon the type of the description list we are adding to our web page, or we are adding to our notepad whenever or wherever we are creating the codes. We are editing the codes, we edit the codes in the notepad first, and then with the help of our any browser we run the file, we open the file in our browser so that we can easily view our web page. For that we have coded all the elements over there. So first of all, how do we use an ordered list tag? For example, I have to add some particular element. So firstly I will mention this tag to the code section in the notepad, then I will mention all the list items over here with this particular tag. All the list items, for example, the first one list item is a subject name, that is chemistry. So whenever I have to mention chemistry, so I will write the li tag first, then its closing tag, so that it can be listed, it can be represented on the web page in the list form. This li is representing your list item. So this particular text that we are adding here is representing our list item. Again, if I am having the next subject, biology, this is your second list item. For the third list item, physics, again I am using the same tag. The last list item, yes, what should be the last list item? These are the optional subjects for the science faculty. So this is the main subject for the science faculty, the mathematics, and this is also the list item. So we will mention all these tags, and right after that, here my ordered list is completed with the last one tag, that is the mathematics. Now I am mentioning the same tag for the ordered list, but with this added slash, and it is representing that our ordered list is starting from here and it is ending till here. So likewise, if you don't want to use the ordered list, you will convert these tags as UL, and your list will be appear as your unordered list. Whenever we are talking about the ordered list, in ordered list there are the particular list item markers. Ordered list means it may be represented in the form of numbers, or it may be represented in the form of alphabets. If you are using the ordered list tag, OL tag over here, so all the items that we are mentioning on the board, they will show their sequence in a particular form, in the form of the numbers or in the form of the alphabets. Or if you are having the unordered list, so they will show themselves with these particular three different options, and these are known as the different bullets. If the bullet is hollow, then this is a circle, and if your bullet is completely a solid round, so this is the second type of bullet we may have, and this is the third type of bullet that we may have as an unordered list, because we don't have to mention the different sequence with the help of number or alphabet. So these type of three bullets can be used for an unordered list. So now what about the description list? Yes, description list tag from page number 59. I am explaining you the description list tag is used to build a list of definitions. Whenever we are having some particular definitions regarding any of the topic and we have to list them, so we use the description list tag. The tags used for creating a description list are, here are the three different types of tag. Number one is DL tag, as I have mentioned on the board, that is your description list tag. Then DT tag represents your definition list term. Then DD tag represents your definition list description. And right after that, whenever or whatever type of list we want to create, we can use any of these tag as an opening and also as a closing tag. And again for the closing tag, if you want to close all these tags or any of the one tag that you are using for your description list, you will add a slash right after your first angle bracket and your tag will be converted from opening to the closing tag. So this is all about the lists. And there is also one more important topic regarding your list, and that is the nesting the lists. How do we nest the list? For example, if I am having an ordered list, I can, and second one is an unordered list. So I can insert this list in this one and this list in the particular this one. For example, we are having a description list, so we can also add this one list over here and this one list over here. So the method through which we enter or we embed the two different lists into each other, that is known as your nesting process or nesting of the list. So by this method we can easily insert any of the list in any other list to make our web page more understandable. And right after that we are having our today's last topic for chapter number 3, that is inserting images. So how do we insert the image within your computer system? We can use the different types of fonts and the list in HTML. Likewise, we can easily insert any type of image in computer system or in our web page right after the coding with the help of the coding in the notepad. So there are the 3 different types of graphics or the images you are having in your book on page number 60. The first one is graphics interchange format. Second one is joint photographic expert group. And the third one is portable network graphics, that is PNG and GIF and JPEG. So these are the 3 different formats or the styles of the graphics or the images that we can easily add to our computer system or to our web page. And the best format for the graphics or the photographs that we may have from all of these 3 is the second type, the joint photographic expert group. So this JPEG type of picture, it can be easily inserted because it has lots of pixels and it has the different colors and it has million colors, means any of the image that we are having, we may have the million of the colors for that particular image. Now what about the image tag? A particular tag is also used for inserting the images. Inserting images. So to insert image, the tag that we use is this one tag, the angle bracket, and within the angle bracket we are having the word img, that is representing your image, and this image tag specifies an image to be displayed in any particular HTML document. The image tag has the following attributes, and this particular image tag has the following different attributes. What are the attributes? Attributes are basically the predefined functions that we can apply to any of the property of HTML. Whenever we have to add the image to our web page, we have these different predefined functions. The first one function is the first one attribute or the predefined function is your SRC. SRC stands for the source, from where we are taking the image through our computer drive or with the help of any or other online or the internet web page. So with the help of this SRC, we specify the URL of an image. URL means uniform resourceful locators, and with the help of this particular function, we represent the source from where we are copying or we are taking our image to be inserted in the web page. Right after that, we are having this ALT or the alternate option, and with the help of this option, we have to enter a specific text for the condition whenever the image is not represented or not shown to the web page. For example, there is any type of error in the web page and the image is not showing to our web page, then we have an alternate text. We must have an alternate text that must be represented instead of our image when the image is not represented on the web browser, and the alternate text may be any of the type. For example, the web page, the image is not available or the image is not uploaded, like that. And after that we have the height and the width of the particular image. Whenever we are working with the image tag, so these two functions really very helpful for the inserting image, the height of the image and the width of the image, because these of two or both of them depends on the pixels of the image and the space on the web page that it may cover, or that any of the image may cover to our web page. So it specifies the height of an image. With the help of this attribute we can specify the height in the form of pixels, and again with the help for the second last last one option, the width, it specifies the width of an image in the form of again the same pixels. So these are the attributes of the image tag. What about these that I have mentioned over here? These are the list properties. Whenever you are having any type of list, so there is a property for the list style, and this is used to set all the list properties in one declaration. By using this property, all of the list properties we may set within the one tag. This is list style position, specifies the position of the list item marker, wherever or from where your list must be started, or the list item marker should be where. So we may specify the position of the list item marker with the help of this second property. Then I have mentioned the list properties for an unordered list. What about the unordered list? We may mention list style image. It specifies the image that will be used as the list item marker. Whatever the picture we want to show or we want to specify as the image or as a list item marker for an unordered list, we may insert with the help of this property. And what type of data or what type of bullet you are willing to add to your unordered list, you may specify the bullet style that will be used as a list item marker. So as a list item marker, which type of bullet I am willing to use, so we may also insert this with the help of this list style type. Then list property for an unordered list. So for an unordered list we have only one property, that is list style type, because we know that for the ordered list we may have the numbers and alphabets as the list item markers. So it specifies the type of list item marker, which one type of list item marker you want. Number one is decimal, number two is lower or upper Roman, and the next one is lower or upper alpha, means alphabets. So this is representing your numbers and this is representing your alphabet. So these are the properties for the simple list, then the unordered list, then for the ordered list. So here we have completed almost our last chapter, chapter number 3, and within the chapter number 3 there are some tricky terms and memory bytes on page number 61 that you will remember yourself with the help of this explanation. And now from week number 5, content solution, page number 116. Firstly you will complete your work for your objective type question and then for your descriptive type question. Then you will come to page number 137 in the same content solution but for the week number 6, and here we are having again the answers of the two different parts from the descriptive type question. You will complete this yourself, and all questions have been completed with the help of this explanation. Right after that, on the Monday week 6, we are having the work of application based questions, and this is from page number 63, the A part. Iram wants to insert an image in a web page. Which tag will be used to insert an image? If we are willing to insert any of the image, so what tag should be used? We will use the same tag that I have mentioned on the board, the image tag. Which tag will he use to insert an image? This is the first one, and second one is name any two attributes on this tag and their use. Now the attributes of the tag and the uses of the attributes. For the second one, two attributes of the image tag are: number one is alternate. It is used to specify an alternate text to our image, and then the height, it is used to specify the height of the image. For the third one, Name the attributes of this tag used to specify the URL of an image. Explain with an example. Number 3, the source attribute of the image tag is used to specify the URL of the image, means the source from where we are taking the image. For example, image source is AI JPG, and this provides the URL of the image file name A1 JPG. The image that is named or that is saved in the computer as A1 JPG name, it will be shown on your web page. And after that we are having the part B, and in part B we are having again a statement. Afra has to create a web page giving definitions related to physics. Number 1, we have to mention the tags needed to create this list, and the answer of number 1 is the tags needed to create the list are DL, DT and DD, as she wants to add the or she wants to create the description list. So these 3 tags are used. Then give the full form of these tags. So for the first one, DL, this is definition list. DT, this is representing definition list term. For the third one, DD, this is representing definition list description. And right after the last one part, name the list type property that specifies the type of list item marker. What values can be assigned to this property? Now we have to list type property name. We have to tell the 2 properties that can be used with these tags are color and font size. The color and the font size can easily be added or used as a property for this particular working. And now for the next day we are having a practice time from page number 58. On page number 58 there is a statement within the practice time. Create a simple web page using HTML to give some tips to ensure healthy and proper functioning of the human eye. Set the following properties. Number 1, background color should be yellow, paragraph text should be in blue, font size should be large and font should be Arial. Then heading level 2 should be center aligned in red and in uppercase. Under unordered list is in maroon and medium font size. In Comic Sans MS font, the list item marker should be a disk. And the solution of this, firstly you will have to type all the HTML codes that are needed to fulfill all the properties that are mentioned in the practice time, and as given alongside on the right hand side or the right bottom side of this page, the codes, all the codes are available that we have to type on the notepad. And for the second step, we have to select file, then save as. In the save as dialog box, again we have to choose the location where we want to save this particular document. Now we have to enter the file name with the file extension .scm or .scm, eyes.scm or .html, and then we have to simply click the save button. Now this document that we have created with the help of notepad is saved in the on the desired location of computer. Now we are starting how to view this particular document on the web browser. Number 5, to view the file in a web browser, open Internet Explorer, then select file, then open. So why are we opening the Internet Explorer? Because Internet Explorer is a browser. What is a browser? A browser is a software that allows us to work with the internet. So we are opening first the Internet Explorer, then from the file tab we have to click the open button and click on browse in the open dialog box, and that appears, a dialog box again appears with for the opening the different documents. And now we are searching for the different documents. Now we are selecting the file eyes.html, as we have named the previous file or the previous document as eyes with the file extension .html, so its name is eyes.html, and we have to click open on this. When the open dialog box appears, click OK to open the page, and as you click the OK button, the web page appears in the browser as shown in the figure on the right. So your web page will be represented on the Internet Explorer in this particular form, and this is having all the properties that we are having right after here about our web page. So this is your practice time from page number 58. and the end of your chapter number 3 and also the end of your content for first semester midterm. And firstly you will complete all the work regarding your chapter number 2, then you will complete all the relevant work for your chapter number 3, the last chapter HTML5 list and images regarding this particular language. So after that we are having a home task or homework diary. So you will complete your copy work from content solution page number 116 for week 5 and then page number 137 for week 6. So this is all about our today's lecture in which we have completed our chapter number 2, that is Access 2013 Design View, Queries, Forms and Reports, and also the last one chapter for our first semester midterm content, the HTML, the list and the images in HTML5. And I hope you have understood all the points, all the relevant concepts that I have explained you today. And inshallah we will meet in the next video class with us again some new interesting topics. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.